So the Marvel Rivals Season 1 trailer for the Fantastic Four joining the game has just been released. So I'll let you guys watch this and we're going to talk about Season 1 and what it has to offer and the heroes that we're going to be getting next season along with their abilities.
You have been sheltered by the light for far too long. The time has come for darkness to reign. Soon, your resolve will begin to crumble. You'll be stretched too thin. There will be nowhere left to hide. And your fire will cease to burn. For no light shall survive in my empire of eternal night.
So as you can see, the main theming for Season 1 is the Empire of Eternal Night because Dracula has taken over New York City in Marvel Rivals. And you can see glimpses of the Sanctum Sanctorum that will be part of the New York map. And we can see all of the heroes. Now, it doesn't really tease their abilities, but luckily those have been leaked, which we'll talk about in this video. But we can see the Thing lifting up a bus, and this is kind of how he looks like. This is his art style. I mean, we already saw it in a picture, but it's cool to see actual visuals. You can also see Mr. Fantastic as well, and it looks like this is the bridge that he's working on, which does allow for interdimensional travel. We also saw Invisible Woman protecting the Baxter building, and you can see here she's creating a ginormous dome, and this could actually be incorporated into her ability like her ultimate, which we'll get onto later. And you can also see, of course, she goes invisible. I don't know if this is exactly how the invisibility will look in-game on your screen, but it looks pretty cool. And then, of course, you can see Human Torch flying around. Now, based on the leaks, Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman will be the first heroes in Season 1, and then later on, during the mid-season, we'll get Human Torch and The Thing. Now, these leaks will be confirmed in the next few days because we did get a content schedule leaked, so if things match up, then that will confirm the leak, and I'll update you guys very soon if those leaks are confirmed. But what are the abilities that these heroes are going to have? Well, let's talk about them, beginning with Human Torch. Human Torch's entire ability set, his look, everything has been leaked. As you can see, his primary fire is the fire cluster. This is the icon for it, and you launch forward a splittable fireball, which means it looks like it will be able to split off and actually create multiple fireballs, maybe when it hits an enemy or when it hits walls and things like that, to cause more fireballs to ricochet and maybe deal slightly less damage. But yes, splittable fireballs, I'd love to see the gameplay of that. But then we have his abilities, which mainly revolve around his flame field. So first of all, I'm going to look at his right click ability. Right down here, it's called Blazing Blast, and this is kind of the core of his entire kit because it allows you to launch a fireball to create a flame field at the targeted area. So these flame fields, I believe, won't actually necessarily be ignited straight away or when you use the ability to be able to deal burn damage. I think you place these down to then be able to activate them at a later time to then deal more damage to the enemy teams. And I believe you'll be able to place quite a few of these around because then we have his Pyro Prison. This is his E ability. And as you can see, the icon is a triangle. So I believe you'll be able to connect maybe 3 different flame fields, but it allows you to connect flame fields to form a firewall that deals burning damage to enemies. So you throw down a few flame fields with his Blazing Blast, and then you pop your Pyro Prison and it will create barriers that deal burn damage, which is a really good area denial tool. It will be really good fighting on the objective. And then you also have his F ability, Flaming Meteor, where you can dive towards the ground and stun nearby enemies. Now, in the description that we originally got leaked, it said that the Flaming Meteor would actually ignite your flame fields. Now, this could be a detail that's not necessarily given in the short description for the ability itself, but is still something that takes place in the gameplay, or things have changed since the original leak. But that would make sense that the Flying Meteor would ignite the flame field when you blasted into it to then deal burn damage within the flame field. And of course, he is a flying hero, so that makes sense for his Flaming Meteor, and he can fly even more with the Plasma Body, which is his left shift ability, where you hold shift to enter a state of accelerated ascent. So you'll be able to move around a lot faster, a little bit like when Iron Man flies. And then we have his ultimate, the Supernova, which unleashes shockwaves to deal damage to enemies within range, and during skill activation, the flame field will transform into a fire tornado. So first of all, the ultimate itself will deal damage to enemies around you, but the best part about the ultimate is it turns all of your flame fields into fire tornadoes, so they're active, dealing burn damage up and around them to the enemies. And this can actually be comboed with his team up, which is Omega Fire, where he teams up with Storm, and Storm can consume one of Human Torch's fire tornadoes into her ultimate to ignite her hurricane, so Storm's able to use a fire tornado, which will deal more damage. It's going to be pretty crazy. And likewise, Human Torch can turn Storm's hurricane into a fiery hurricane with his ultimate, which will then enlarge and intensify any of his fire tornadoes caught in its path. So if you pop a Storm ult over any of Human Torch's fire tornadoes during his ult, then it will amplify them, making them bigger and doing more damage by the sounds of it. So Human Torch honestly sounds like an amazing duelist. He sounds really fun. But we have Mr. Fantastic, who is leaked to be a duelist. In all of the leaked images, he's a duelist, but a lot of players have seen his kit and think he should be a Vanguard. So listen to this and let me know what you think in the comments. His primary fire is the Elastic Punch, where you stretch out a forward punch to attack enemies. So it's a melee attack, probably a pretty long-ranged melee attack, but a melee attack nonetheless. Now, he also has his left shift ability, where he stretches his body to absorb incoming damage before launching stored damage in the targeted direction. So you can protect yourself and your teammates from damage, and then also inflict damage on the enemies afterwards. We also have his E ability, Flexible Elongation, where he selects a target and dashes towards them, dealing damage to enemies and granting bonus health to his allies. So again, it seems like he can assist his team with this ability. And then we also have his right-click Rubber Grip, where he extends his arms forward to entangle any hit enemies. He can then press left click to select and yank 2 more enemies, and this seems like it will stun them and keep them trapped, maybe also dealing damage. But we also have his passive, where skills generate elasticity, and this boosts your attack power. Now, if you reach full elasticity, it will trigger an inflated state that restores your health and boosts your damage. So you gotta make sure you're using your abilities to heal yourself and give yourself damage boost. And the model of his inflated state, well, he looks pretty goofy, but he also looks a little bit like a Vanguard. And then we have his ultimate Brainiac Bounce, where he can leap and smash, knocking back enemies within range, and upon hitting an enemy, you can leap again up to 6 times. Oh no. Are we getting a Winter Soldier repeat? I hope not. But either way, I can see why people think he might be a Vanguard, but all the leaks at the moment do say he's a duelist. But this is a very Vanguard-like kit, as you can protect your teammates and grant them healing. So we'll just have to see, and that's why I'm excited for Mr. Fantastic's release. Either way, let's talk about a real Vanguard. That's right, the Thing, of course, is going to be a Vanguard. Now, his abilities were leaked, however, there isn't an image like with the last 2 of this in-game, but just for your viewing pleasure, I decided to put together the leaked abilities into a concept image of the game, just so it's nice for us to understand what they are. First of all, he has 2 attacks. He has his primary fire, which is Combination Punch, where he does quick and continuous punches, and then his secondary fire, the Thunderbolt Punch, where he delivers a devastating punch. So you can either hit quick and fast, or you can charge up and hit a harder punch that will have a longer cast time. But next up, we also have his left shift, a Furious Charge, where you continuously charge forward, lifting up enemies in your path, leaving behind a seismic zone that prohibits displacement. It seems like this won't be an ability where you just tap shift and you'll go in one direction. It seems like, as it says continuously charge forward, you can maybe hold shift, or you press shift and it's active for a few seconds, and you can run around where you'd like, leaving behind this zone that would stop your enemies from getting knocked back and displacement. This sounds like a really nice ability for yourself and your team. Then we also have his Battlefield Support, his E ability, where he jumps towards teammates and adds damage reduction to them and himself. So playing the role of Vanguard perfectly, protecting your team, helping to negate some of that incoming damage. And then we have his passive, Solid as a Rock, where he is immune to enemy knockback and other displacement effects. Will he be immune to a Jeff ult? Absolutely not. I doubt they'd do that, but he will be immune to all knockback abilities, so he can really stay up in your face with his combination punches. And then we have his ultimate, the Slam Moment. He uses tremendous force to knock all enemies in front of you into the air. So you can displace the enemies, push them off the objective, pop them in the air so that they're easy targets. Again, it sounds like a Vanguard ability, as of course he is a Vanguard. And now Invisible Woman was the only hero out of the Fantastic Four that we didn't have a full ability ability set that was leaked with the descriptions, but we did have the ability names, and these were translated from Chinese after being data mined. But her primary fire is called Psionic Invisibility. I really have no idea what this will be. I don't know why the primary weapon has the word invisibility in it. Maybe it can temporarily make your teammates invisible. I highly doubt that, but she is a strategist, so it could be an option. For ability 1, it's called Psychic Strike. Now, as I said, it was translated, so Invisible Woman isn't psychic. I assume this is just something that was lost in translation, but Psychic Strike definitely sounds like an attacking ability. We also have Psychic Aid, which is clearly her support ability, and this might be where she creates a bubble around herself or her teammates to protect them from incoming fire. We also have Psychic Vortex, which could be anything, honestly. It could be a healing vortex, a damaging vortex, some kind of area where it heals your teammates and damages the enemies at the same time. Who knows? We then have her ultimate, Psycho Field. This one, again, I have no idea what it could be. It could completely protect all of your teammates by bubbling a giant area or bubbling them all individually at the same time as her being invisible. But her passive ability, which is Invisible Energy, is likely some kind of energy bar that she can charge up and use as she wants, and this will allow her to go completely invisible for a period of time. Maybe it's something where you deal damage to then fill up your energy meter to then go invisible for longer, or it's just something that you have to manage throughout the game. Either way, Invisible Woman's definitely going to be an awesome strategist, and she should be coming to the game first with Mr. Fantastic. So that is Marvel Rivals Season 1. The trailer looks awesome, the Fantastic Four characters look great, and I believe we'll see even more in terms of gameplay that will confirm the abilities very, very soon.